How is everyone? Well, good evening and many, many thanks to NALEO for hosting tonight's gala. Many thanks to all of the elected officials here who've come together to support one another, uplift one another, and continue to be focused on the future, especially for the Latino community. It is a privilege for me to be here, but an even greater privilege to represent what I call the new Ellis Island, El Paso, Texas, on the safe, secure U.S.-Mexico border. I want to take just a moment to congratulate my compañera, Sylvia Garcia, who I consider a dear, dear, dear friend. Sylvia, I'm so proud of you, so happy for you to be receiving this award. There's no one more deserving than you. I had the great honor of getting to know Sylvia when we were both county commissioners many, many moons ago, and we served on a statewide organization called the Conference of Urban Counties, and I served on the policy committee, and Sylvia was the chairwoman. And I remember the very first meeting that I attended, and Sylvia was in charge, and there aren't very many county commissioners in Texas that look like Sylvia or me. Most of them are a little lighter than we are and a little older than we are, and definitely very much more male, and with cowboy hats and cowboy boots. And I remember sitting around that conference table, and Sylvia had all of them just eating out of the palm of her hand. And it was that moment that I realized the incredible power of Sylvia's leadership. And on election night, when she and I both were running in our primary, as I got to my election night party and was being swept up to go talk to the media because we had a clear victory that night, the first thing before we got on camera, I was asking every reporter, what's going on with Sylvia Garcia? Did she win? Did she win? Did she make it? And when I heard that she did, and that together she and I would be making history, I just was so pleased. And I'm so honored to serve with so many great members of Congress, especially our colleagues on the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, members of Congress who have so much integrity and are so devoted to the Latino community and their own communities. And it really is a tremendous privilege. And it's exciting to be coming into the most diverse Congress in the history of the United States with all of them. And with so many Latinos, and especially so many Latinas. You know, we Latinas bring a very special kind of leadership. We're kind of peleoneras a little bit, and so it's wonderful to be alongside so many peleoneras. Sylvia and Debbie Mukersel-Powell and I serve on judiciary, and it's great to be able to chat. And you know, Sylvia will come over and say, ay, mija, do you believe that? And Debbie will lean over and say, ay, Veronica, no lo creo. And it feels like being home when I'm around my compañeras, my fellow Latinas. So it's incredible. You know, all of us, and what NALEO does is fight for diversity. And it is so critical that we continue that push and that journey for greater diversity at the tables and the seats of power. As we are talking about the environment, we need to have young people at the table because they are the ones who will inherit the decisions that we make. When we're talking about family and women's health care, we need to have women at the table because it is their lives that we are touching, their lives that we are shaping. So women need to be at that table. When we are talking about the economy and what a healthy, strong economy looks like, we need working people at the table, their voices to determine the kinds of jobs and the kinds of goals we should have in order to create an economy that works for everyone. When we are talking about immigration, we need immigrants at those tables, at those seats, discussing what true, humane, compassionate reform, what just laws look like. And when we're talking about the border, you better believe we need fronterizos and fronterizas at those tables of power, those seats of power, making decisions about what the border represents and looks like. But those of us who have been fortunate enough to be swept into Congress on this very diverse wave, we also have a tremendous obligation. And our obligation is to make sure that we create a leadership pipeline and that we create opportunities for others in the way that we have received opportunities. And so I want to give a special shout out to my staff, to the men and women in my office who work so hard: Eduardo Lerma, Jacqueline Sanchez, Elizabeth Lopez Sandoval. And I want you to take note of those names: Lerma, Sanchez, Lopez Sandoval. If we expect diversity in Congress, we better deliver it in our offices. And so while the gains that we've made in terms of bringing Latinos and Latinas into office, whether it be local office, state office, federal office, those gains should be the tip of the iceberg. We have a long way to go. And until we fill those seats and those rooms and those conference tables and those daises, we will not be done. And so thank you, NALEO. Thanks to each and every one of you here tonight for everything that you do to create that fabulous leadership pipeline that is browner and spicier. Thank you. Enjoy your evening. Good night.